Well, hello to the future. I'm Gabriel Saint, artist, writer, director, working out of Los Angeles, California. Today I'm here with Derrick and we're in conversation with Garrett Kirby, writer, actor, game designer. Well, how do we describe it? Tabletop game designer. All right, Garrett, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started, maybe.
Hi, thanks for having me. First time, long time. 5'11", out of Los Angeles.
Ooh, very single, no, I'm joking. He's not single at all. Very married.
Very married.
Very taken, very wonderful.
I'll tell you about myself.
Nailed it.
Do art. I've been a creative. I moved out to LA almost 20 years ago. Met Derrick very early on in an acting class where we initially hated each other.
Really?
That's a true story. Without telling each other, we despised the way each other presented to the universe.
Wait. Let's talk about this a little bit.
Yeah.
So you guys met in an acting class in LA, and y'all had a little bit of a camaraderie, a little bit of enemies become best friends become enemies.
Yeah. And you remember how it went? We had to like get in a circle and we had to typecast one another so we would know.
Wow.
Like what a cast, like from a casting director.
It's crazy that that's what they do in these fucking acting classes.
Yeah.
Well, they want you to know how other people see you. So
No, I get cool. Like LA and it's very like, don't judge people, let everybody. And then as soon as you get into like an LA and art, they're like, okay, stand up there so everyone can like make snap judgments about.
I wish I'd brought that because there's a piece of paper you're writing down while people are talking about you, what they see.
Dick, you can probably find a general one online. We'll pop it into a Discord so people can see what we're talking about. Like
Well, I
a
mean-
checklist, how you judge somebody.
It's not even a checklist. It's like, how would you as a casting director cast this person? What roles do you see them in? Big brother, little cheerleader.
There's not like a form.
No, and I remember the teacher was like more specific, and someone was like, looks like if there was one piece of pizza left, he'd give it to you. Like that kind of stuff. Looks like he had an older brother that bullied him when he was young, like that kind of stuff.
So tell me about how y'all did not like each other. Tell me about the discrepancy. Hey, Estayu, thank you for joining all the way from San Francisco.
I'm pretty sure Garrett said that he didn't like me because I looked like a vegan. And I like wore a V-neck shirt.
He was sitting cross-legged on the bench with his legs up under each other. Like
He's probably sitting like that right now.
I got a half tuck. I got a half tuck.
he was doing that like a 5-year-old, and he was just kind of being like bouncing over there like he's doing right now.
Yeah.
Did he have this cut or did he have the longer
Oh,
hair?
God, it was so long ago. I don't know.
Probably shorter, but I don't know.
Yeah, but he looked like a Disney prince. You know, over there, a Disney vegan prince, which I don't have a problem with. Just I didn't like the cut of his jib. You know what I mean?
That's hilarious.
And I remember thinking like we were trying to move through acting exercises and Garrett would always like have to say something funny at the end. And I was like, this guy just needs so much attention. So
You're in an acting class.
desperate and annoying or whatever. And then and then we actually hung out and then I was like, you are funny.
Desperate and annoying is hilarious, dude.
It's not an act. He's just actually a funny guy.
He's actually a funny guy. He's one of the funniest guys.
So how did y'all break that tension? How did y'all realize that? Like you were like, hey,
Here for drinks.
these are cool dudes.
There was group hangouts,
How was the first date?
but that class got very close, very quick, and it was as a group. Like there was no romantic tension or anything between anybody. We were very close, and then me and another guy were looking for a third for our sketch team,
Let you hang.
and we
For that.
reached out to him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'd love to do it," and then we went from there, and it was that.
And then we were in a sketch team together for a few years.
Okay, this guy's not that bad.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Let's talk a little bit about acting, about kind of like your experience in acting. Did you go to school for acting, for theater? Like, how did you kind of get into acting?
Why are you laughing? Sorry, Fifi just mentioned I got a half tuck as one hell of a sentence with too many meetings. I'm terrible with phrasing.
I purposely didn't read that out loud and just responded to it.
Just now caught that.
Thanks, for sharing.
Didn't go to college at all. Oh, I did actually. I went to a semester and a half of community college in Fresno. Go Rams.
Fresno Rams.
Fresno Community College.
Right, I
Rams.
thought they were the Fresno Bees.
That's the newspaper.
The Fresno Bee is the newspaper. So
And the main college is the Bulldogs. That's the whatever. It doesn't matter. I didn't go.
really
there.
do
Let
not
him tell
think
his.
it's
Let him tell his story, Derrick.
Okay, sorry.
I went to a semester and a half of community college and literally got D's and F's in everything except
Nice.
acting class that I got A's in.
And that's how you knew it was time.
Oh, I never was going to do school. Anyway, so I did that, and then I started booking some local stuff. And then from that, there was a like a manager producing this thing that I was shot. And he was like, I know it when I see it. You got to move to L.A. And it was like, what? And I'm so scared. Moved to L.A. like 6 months later. Here just taking classes like we did, just occasional stuff, big into improv for a long time, but it's been a long time since I've done that. That's kind of been the focus. Didn't like stand up, so I went heavy into improv, and then, training just here and there.
When you said you met with a manager or a production in Fresno that said that you needed to go to LA, what kind of production was it?
It was, they shot a pilot, and I got the villain, and it was a comedy, and it was very funny. At the time, I bet it doesn't hold up. Oh boy, I bet it doesn't hold up.
Do you know the name of this?
No, never know. No.
Derek's ready to pull it up so we can check it out.
Nope. Yeah, it was a pilot, and then on set he told me that, and then they did a screening out here, and I traveled out for that, and everybody was like, "What are you in? Here's my card," and stuff like that.
Very cool. Can Derek, while we're chatting, can you pull up a slide on Tubi and maybe find a couple scenes? We don't have to look at them now, but
I was just looking at that yesterday on Rotten Tomatoes. Mm-hmm. It's only 2 reviews. They don't even match the movie. And my name is not on there.
are they bots?
I don't know.
Well, there's also a handful of movies called Ghostlight that I bet it's very easy to mix in.
The distribution company picks, or not even the distribution, probably the streaming company picks the names with the highest IMDb ratings to be on.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
And there's only can put like 2 of them, so it's usually like Will and his mom.
Yeah. No, there's like anyway. I don't really care. I just was looking at it to see what the reviews were. That I haven't checked in on it in a while.
Yeah.
It was fun to look at.
Yeah. You can even pull up some scenes. It's on the YouTube page, but private. The post-production edit of Mr. Void. Maybe you could watch the scene when Garrett and Will are playing guitar in the garage. It was pretty fun.
Is that up somewhere?
It's not public, no.
Oh.
It's just on a private link that we've been looking at back and forth, the edit of. Garrett is a very talented actor that was actually in the feature films that we have done together, is what we're talking about right now. Ghostlight is a film on Tubi that I directed and Derek wrote that Garrett stars in. And Derek's gonna pull that up in a second, and we'll take a look at it.
I sent it to you via text just because you're gonna have to pull it up. And
Tubi thing?
I gave you a time code.
The Tubi or YouTube?
Tubi.
Oh, I have to pull it up?
I mean, I have it here, but I don't know how to.
Maybe just drop the link in Discord.
Okay.
I'll take a look at it. So Garrett, you moved to LA after this pilot, and then you started doing acting classes. That's how you met with Derek. Mm-hmm. Did you do any other kind of interesting film projects or TV shows while you were here in LA?
Well, I used to do a ton of commercials. I was the apartments.com guy before Jeff Goldblum.
What?
No big deal.
Can we find that?
Oh yeah.
Link it into the Discord.
They're up somewhere.
Anything you link on Discord, I'll pull it. It's fun.
Stuff isn't exciting though.
It's pretty exciting.
I did a ton of commercials. I used to say I was the unluckiest actor, because I did like 20 national commercials. The most I ever made was like $1,000 on them for nationals. So.
Anything else that the name drop besides apartments.com?
That I can name drop? I did Hasbro, you'll never find that. Like products? No, nothing for commercials. And I've never been in anything big except your guys' stuff.
Oh, that was sweet. It sounded like you called our guys' stuff big.
Yeah. That was my big time.
Well, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about how you kind of got into the game stuff right now. The tabletop game design. Like how did you get there from there?
Life's crazy.
That's true. Cool, that's it. Life's crazy. We'll see y'all next time.
I was doing this forever. I was waiting tables off and on forever. And I was working at a job where I wasn't making very much money, so I was reaching around.
Right, that's how you get some extra money?
Reaching around looking for half tucks, and
that's a callback.
And a buddy had started an app, a gaming app, for his version of Words with Friends, because Words with Friends wouldn't let you play slang, and he felt like that was kind of Xing out some communities, right? So he started a game called Slang and Friends, where slang words were bonus.
Oh, nice. And it was an app?
Yeah, it's long gone now, but he partnered with Ludacris on that.
So the original game is Words with Friends, but you couldn't use slang words.
Yeah.
You kind of seemed like it was kind of not so inclusive.
Correct.
So you're like, let's do a game that not only includes slang words, but you get extra points for using them. That's very cool. And then what you're saying now is like once you got the app running with this friend of yours, he partnered up with Ludacris?
Ludacris came on for a while, yeah. and that didn't work out either. They did a Kickstarter, so this was a very early. And from there, they started to try to transition that game into a tabletop card game that you could play with slang and stuff at home. That's when he brought me on. I needed a job. He needed some help. He brought me on, and so I started helping with that.
And how long you been doing that?
6-7 years.
So tell me a little bit, like, do you feel like the creative process between like making these games and like being an actor or improvising, do you find like there's a bit of a connection there between like your creative process or like where it comes from?
Well, I'll tell you that improv really teaches you to listen. And so when I'm creating these and then we're testing, I usually test with whoever I can find, anybody I can find, put them together. And that's where the listening from improv really helps, taking what other people feel and experience and incorporating that in. It has been a lot of office work type stuff, but when I do get to be creative with making the tabletop games, that is when I'm happiest.
Let's talk a little bit about what you were kind of touching on there, like the idea of improvising really being about listening, and that part of the game designing was also about listening, and maybe that is kind of what you're saying is your favorite part.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you talking to me?
Oh gosh. What?
Get it? Get it? Yeah,
Oh, he's so funny because he wasn't listening.
we did it.
We got there. Yeah, so maybe a little bit about that part of improvising or game design, or what makes you love that part of it the most, you know?
Well, I'm so sorry about this. Wow.
See, is this a thing or is he for real right now?
Along came Polly.
Is that the mood?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
If you didn't catch the reference, he comes with a footnote.
Casey and the Sunshine Band. That's Austin Powers.
Boy, good. That boy, good. That's coming to America.
Well, you're starting from scratch with any game you're creating. So you have a concept, and then you just start basically trying to write out some form of instructions, and then you're making cards, and you're making a crude thing, and then you're playing with friends. And you can have things that you really care about, and you have to listen, because when people are like, ooh, that doesn't feel right, and that's your favorite part, it's like, oh, kill that baby right now. Just listen when people tell you that. The testing is so big, and if you don't take people's notes.
And this is kind of like getting into like a bigger philosophy that I'm always trying to talk about, is like constructive criticism, like understanding, appreciating how to take and receive constructive criticism, and also like being prepared that it hurts your feelings every time. Anytime someone really listens and really gives you feedback, it hurts your feelings. And if you prepare for that, you know that that's part of the process, you start to thank people for being honest with you.
Yeah, you got to be honest.
You know what I mean? And like that's nurturing a culture of honesty and emotional intelligence, and like being here at this moment, listening to people, digesting what they're giving you and giving it back. You know, and I think taking criticism, whatever art form you start in, whether it's acting or painting or whatever, like what a great lifelong lesson.
Yeah, I've been criticized a lot, so I'm good with it.
You're also kind of judgy.
But with the games, I mean, it's a little less hurtful than when you're creating other pieces of art. I don't even know if it's art. It has to be art at this point.
Yeah, of course.
But like when you write a script, when you make a film and people are criticizing it, that's obviously like I put so much into this. Whereas creating a test game and then people going, this, I don't like that, this is good, it doesn't hurt as much because I need to know that. Because when we go to print, obviously we want everyone to like our movies, but they don't return your movies. They've watched it and they like it or they don't. Whereas with a game, it's like you're returning a $14 game.
Yeah, but I still think it's a bit of a perspective change, because me and Derrick work hard to detach from pieces of art. Like when we bring first drafts, we will always preface it like, I don't even care, bro. I just threw this together. I helped me with half of that. That way, when you break it down, it doesn't hurt my feelings, and I can just take the criticisms as if it wasn't attached to me personally, you know. And I think that takes practice. It's a perspective shift, and you're convincing yourself right now, like, oh yeah, I'm not attached to it personally, emotionally. So, and it's like you have to go in with that, because it's hard to do anything passionately and not get attached to it, it seems like, without actively detaching. Yeah. Chen says Gabe's good at constructive criticism because she be ragging me all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something to the fact that it's not my company. And so sometimes the product isn't my creation. I'm just trying to get it done. Maybe there's something to that. So if you went,
Sure.
So if you made it and then you were doing one for you, one for them, on the one for them, you wouldn't be hurt as much when people are like, there's too much CGI in your superhero movie. You'd be like, okay, no taken. It doesn't hurt. I agree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe there's that.
Well, sometimes what we've talked about here is like dividing the difference between art and design. Like design might be what you're doing for a grade or a paycheck. And art might be what you're doing to express yourself, personal, And sometimes it's good as an artist to decide, am I doing a design here or am I doing art here? And sometimes there's a gray area. You might be doing both. But the idea is like, hey, somebody's giving me a paycheck. This is a design.
Yeah.
Not going to get emotionally attached. Just going to do the work. And then sometimes it's like, you know what? I'm not selling this. This is just for me. I'm going to throw it away when I'm done with it. But I'm going to make a piece of art. And maybe there's some kind of compartmentalization that we do.
Is there levels for you
Jerry.
with the amount of connection you have with how fast it takes? Like if you can make a painting in 2 hours and then throw it away, or make it in 2 hours and then just live with it, are you as connected to that as you are when you put in hours and hours and hours and days and weeks into something else?
I get attached to everything, man. I get attached to my cell phone, to car. Like I get attached to inanimate objects. Like I'm just kind of sentimental about objects, and things like that. So I'm always attached to everything. But my philosophy is, doesn't matter whether you spend 1 hour or 100,000 hours on it. All that matters is how it tastes. How it looks, how it sounds, you know what I mean? If the audience likes this that you put 10,000 hours, or they like this thing that you put 10 minutes into, sometimes they like the one you put 10 minutes into. And I don't feel like you just spend 10 minutes on a piece of art or 10,000 hours. You spend your entire life preparing to put whatever onto a sheet of paper or a canvas or whatever it is. So that's just kind of my philosophy. As far as like, do I get attached to it more? Like, no, I'm already attached just because the pre-writing gets me attached before you start writing,
I mean, we don't have anything like that, you and I, where we can just sit down for 2 hours and make a piece of art. Do you have anything? I can't think of anything I could do.
In 2 hours, I could write shorts. Like we've written like 3 to 5 page shorts at this table before we got up and left at the end of the day.
Yeah, we definitely. Oh, I mean, we also probably spent a couple weeks pre-writing too in order to sit down and do a 2-hour script. Because what we'll do is like, oh, we got 30 minutes. Let's just chop it up about some synopses. And then one day I'll be like, hey, we got 20 synopses. We've got them listed in order of the ones we like the best to the ones we like the least. Let's just sit down and write these.
Well, that, and we also did a short experimentation. I don't think we've ever aired anywhere, but whenever AI Midjourney came out, or Runway came out, and we were able to animate still images created by Midjourney, we were thinking, what if we created an animation a day in the style of People, where we sit down, Derrick, you write a few sentences.
We're going to do a talk show, an AI talk show.
Yeah.
AI host, and write a script for it, do the whole thing in 30 minutes every time we met. And no more, no less. 30 minutes is what we got. As good as it gets at 30 minutes is what it is. And over time, we would hope that we would get better. So in 30 minutes, we could do more and more and more, but we always use the same time allotment. And I think
We did a couple of those.
Yeah, we did. And I think we do pretty good at part of meeting regularly and having maybe the amount of hours we have to meet every week is how much of that time goes to what projects. Because we'll have 3 or 4 projects and say, hey, we're here for 3 hours. We're going to put 2 hours on this, 30 minutes on this, and 30 minutes on. Chan says she almost gets excited when she resonates with criticism. She loves the idea of making things even better than they are. And it still sucks when I disagree with it, though, And she also says, me and Gabe butt heads a lot due to the fact that we do different art forms and they all have their different rules and standards. Yeah, that's true. She does tattoos and you can't put light sources in a certain way. She was explaining if you get a bunch of tattoos and they all have hard light sources, they might clash. So she says you have to do tattoos in a way that leaves the light source kind of omnipotent,
Yeah.
you know, that way the light source of the room. And usually when I'm making art, it's like the first thing you have to do is define the direction of the light source. She's like, well, if it's tattoos, that's not really quite. But that's good, funny. That's part of criticism. Like sometimes when you get criticism, it says more about the person who's than your art sometimes. And you might say, oh, I know who you are based on the criticism you made on my game. You're not my audience.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah.
Or the opposite. Oh, if you're criticizing it that way and I know that you're my audience, I got to make some changes.
And you could determine what people like to focus on based on what they criticize. Like whenever I send out scripts, some people will be all grammar. They're like, okay, thanks, I appreciate that. And I'll eventually get to the spell checks and stuff, but I needed to know, did you have fun reading it? Or how's the structure? Or
Dude, it takes a lot to get people to give you that kind of information. You have to trust somebody. They have to trust you because most people just give you grammar. And so, Garrett, when you're creating these games, do you create games from scratch? How do you kind of get into, you know, the beginning of a game design?
It's different for everyone. Like the one that was Oprah's favorite things was mentioned in a conversation.
Okay, hold up. You definitely just threw that away. So what you said was the one that Oprah mentioned?
Oh, have you heard of her?
So tell us a little bit about the Oprah situation.
It just happened last year. It's this game called Song Survivor.
Song Survivor?
Yeah, she makes a list every year for her holiday gift list, whatever, Oprah's favorite things. We got
Can you put in the Discord?
notified like March, April, June, something like that. They wanted to see our stuff, sent it in. They picked that one. The holidays were crazy.
So, like, did y'all submit the game to something for Oprah, or the game just out in public and she contacted the company and said, send us some stuff?
Well, her team is always looking for products. So they were on Amazon, and they reached out through a connection, I believe. Anyway, and they reached out and said, can we see your games? We sent them. She picked that one, I think, because it's quick and easy and fun, and it's a stocking stuffer size. It's a silly little game. But it was in conversation. We were like, how many songs have this word in it? Whatever it was in the conversation. Maybe it was love or whatever. There's a million songs with love in it. I got it. And then we just kind of went do. And that was how we started developing the game.
Okay, so Oprah's constantly looking for new products, new games, new books, new things like that, right? And somehow she caught wind of this particular game. And the game you're saying is a word game that's pertaining to music.
Yeah.
And when you pull a card, the card will say, name 5 songs that have the word love in it or something like that.
No, well, you flip it and it says love. And so we go around trying to outlast with songs that have the word love in it.
I'm gonna love you
Yeah.
every day and every night. Whole lot of love, girl, a whole lot of love.
And I will always, and then we go until people are eliminated, then you,
Oh, gotcha. So when somebody can't come up with a song with love in it,
or they stall, yeah. And some of them are much harder.
then you drink?
No, you're out, and then
Okay,
you're
you're
going to win. There's 2 ways to play, or you can do, there's a judge, and then they pick their favorite. So we would do performance instead of, we would be like,
Okay, so it's a deck of cards that each one has like a bit of trivia, and you have to go around it the same way. And it's all based on words from
songs.
songs.
And categories really is what it is to simplify it. That's an improv game, categories, and then be like, name kinds of trucks and
Gotcha.
but yeah, that's the game. Simple, easy.
That sounds fun. Hi, Rose. Thanks for joining us all the way from Texas. So, how many cards are in this deck, and what did you say the name of the game was?
Song Survivor, and it's like 104 cards.
104 cards, Song Survivor. It's available now. It is one of Oprah's favorites, and you said that was this December?
Yeah.
So,
November to December, yeah.
and Oprah liked it because it was also a good stocking stuffer, these card games, and y'all are real busy. So, how long did it take y'all to develop the game?
I mean, it can take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, depending on how complicated it is.
Wow.
My favorite game I ever made, we didn't even make. It's a tile game, a word tile game. You played it, or you helped shoot something for it called Word Riot. And that took years to get to where I liked it. And then it was too expensive to make, so we didn't make it.
Sometimes you said right at the beginning of this conversation that you gotta kill your darlings.
Yeah.
You know, it's a tough lesson to learn, but like art sometimes is a numbers game, you know, and you have to put out 10 products to get the one that works or the one that kind of sticks with you.
Yeah, man.
So let me ask you this, Garrett, outside of like the game development and the acting, what kind of other stuff do you do, like for creative outlets or self-expression, or just like what do you like really love and passionate about?
Well, watching movies is big. I know it's a lazy thing to do, but it's also homework. I love watching movies, but I write.
I don't know if it's a lazy thing to do in 2025 where people were watching movies is actually like your second screen. You know what I mean? When they keep saying everything is second screen contact, second screen watching, but like sitting down and having the attention span to watch an entire film is a.
That's crazy that that's even spoken about. Do you have the attention span to watch a film?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons I love film is like when I was in art school and our classes were 4 hours long, you know, because it took that long to kind of get into something, kind of really get humming and in the zone, and then wrap up and clean up. Like if you're not giving your mind like an hour to an hour and a half to just kind of like dive into something, you know what I mean? And it's so strange that we don't do that. And it's different. Like you're looking at something on your phone or you're swiping, you're looking at content. If you're looking at your phone while you're watching something in the background, hey, it's not the same experience as locking in for an hour.
Yeah.
You know,
You've been swiping a lot? There's a lot of connections or
no, I'm talking about on social media.
upward?
Swipe. I don't know. I haven't been on a dating app in so long. Do they still swipe?
You're asking the wrong person.
I
haven't been on a dating app.
I don't even know how dating apps work.
I would imagine.
But no, I get no connections.
I love movies and sports, but I've talked to Derek about this a little bit, but like writing has been very hard for me to get back into. I mean, is this a happy show or a sad show?
It's a real
It's a
show.
show, man.
It's a real show. My mom passed away. We're coming up on exactly 1 year next Tuesday.
Sorry for your loss, my guy.
Thank you. She was staying with me the last 6 months, and that was very hard, but I was really pushing myself to write every day as much as I could, more and more and more. And it was so hard because I was busy all the time taking care of her and work and wife and dog. But I was really pushing myself, and I was kind of proud with how well I did with all that stress, just making time, forcing myself. And I've looked back at Final Draft, and the last time I wrote anything was the day before she passed. And I couldn't even approach the laptop to start writing again. Even now, I still haven't, even though we're working on storyboard outlines and concepts and stuff, but I still haven't typed any script stuff. So outside of the stuff I do, I've always wanted to write as well, and it's been very hard for a year.
Gotcha. And then is that kind of where you want to put your focus right now, as you'd like to kind of do the writing?
Well, the positive of writing is that you can do it at any time. You don't need to get an audition and have someone book you and that kind of thing. You're at the mercy of the industry for acting.
Right.
Writing, you can just go sit and spend as much time as you want. The negative is no one's going to make you do it. You don't have to show up to an audition. Nobody cares if you don't write. Literally, Hollywood doesn't give a shit if I don't write anything.
Yeah.
So I want to, like, the dream is to make my own stuff with my friends, like write stuff that gets made and be in it. I'm better at acting than I am at writing. I'll say that.
Well, the thing about writing for me is that I've been writing for longer than I'd like to admit, but a lot of the times I was never writing because like I had this insatiable urge to write. I was working in film, and I was either working with a director that needed a script, or I was a director that needed a script. You know, I never really just kind of wrote because I wanted to get to a screenplay out. I did try to write some like novels type things when I was younger, and I've written a lot about music and stuff like that. But as far as like writing goes, there's something that I think you touched on that always works for me as a writer is like, what's the finish line? You know what I mean? Because it's,
I don't. What do
you know who Nipsey Hussle was?
Yes.
Nipsey Hussle said something that blew my mind, and he said, stop writing songs for you, stop writing songs about you, and figure out who you're writing songs for, and then write songs to those people, and that's how you'll find yourself. You know what I mean? And that's where I find myself writing scripts is, what is this for? Am I trying to get to a film festival? Am I trying to shoot it with friends? Am I trying to make a horror film? Who is it for? You know what I mean? And I think that could be a question that could help you find the finish line, because it's hard to practice. It's hard to get the practice team together to practice if there's no games. You know what I mean? And so if you set who is this for, create a game, like you create a finish line. So you said it. I kind of want to do stuff that goes to production with my friends. You know what I mean? So that's who it's for. You're writing for your friends. You're writing for a production that you can do yourself, apparently. You know what I mean? And like that's a lot of when we get together. It's like, because Derrick wrote a beautiful film recently called The Executioners. Probably cost $300 million to shoot. But like we knew who that was when he was going into it. He was like, I'm going to write a script that there's no way that I could possibly shoot. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So think about that. Like who are you writing for?
Yeah, that's a good 300 mil.
That's his budget. I think he could do it for 2.
Were there real deaths in it?
Yeah.
2 mil?
200. 200.
Yeah, and it's like a Spielbergian period piece. But I read it. You've seen the films that we write. We write, for us to bring it.
Yeah, which is very cool. Very impressive how much you guys keep pumping stuff out.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. Are you making anything now?
And we're making a podcast currently with you.
Oh, shoot it.
It's rolling, baby.
Yeah, what was the question?
Like, who are you writing for? Like, who?
I don't know, man. I found that I enjoy the most writing where I dissect and kind of pick on myself.
Self-deprecation, like
Not
Conan O'Brien.
Not self-deprecation. Like the script I finished or had a draft of before everything went to hell or went to heaven was basically exploring the dangers of religion. And I grew up very religious, very Christian, and I wanted to make something about how Christianity can hurt people when used wrong. And the next thing I want to write, if I ever get to it, is a sort of masculinity. So when I say that picks apart me, it's about things that I obviously identify as, but that I have an insight to, and I know what's wrong with this.
Right, what you know, and like, yeah.
So back to the question I'm asking. Like, I love the points that you're making right now, but like, who are you speaking to? Because you're saying I identify this about me, so therefore I need to express it. Because a lot of things we talk about here is from art to everything you're doing is about self-expression. The way you get your hair cut, the clothes you put on, the things you decide to do, the people you hang. It's all about expressing yourself. And that's kind of, I think, what is the main fulfillment of artists are humans. And what you're saying is I see these things that are a reflection of me that are lessons I've learned. And I would like to express myself. Who are you expressing yourself to? Like, who is the benefit of these types of stories?
Well, then I guess it's people like me. I want the criticism of Christianity to come from a Christian, so other Christians can be like, yeah, maybe we need to chill, damn. That kind of thing. Just let people live and be happy.
This Christian saying it.
Yeah, but I mean, they would obviously, I think it would start conversations in that, oh, here we are under attack again. Christians are always under attack. It's like, no, we're just like being inspected and we need to listen.
Audited.
Yeah. And so, and with the masculinity one, it's that the concept of that is how, like with sexual assault or deviance, whatever, we're always disgusted by people, and when it happens to people we know, we don't believe it. So it's about questioning whether it's okay to. Anyway, I'm not even answering your question. So I want men to question blind loyalty to men. Is basically that.
So in a way, what you're trying to do is like speak to people who maybe have lived a similar experience to you, but maybe are a little younger than you. And that way you can help them maybe learn lessons a little earlier or a little easier than the way that you learned lessons. Or also, like what you're saying is that, what I'm hearing is that maybe you still have a love for your faith, and that you think that sometimes there are people out there that are giving faith a bad name. and that it's real easy to kind of see that. And you're saying, hey, you can still love your faith and also question it.
Yes.
Because a good narrative is going to tackle both sides of the issue. Like if you were just to make a movie about how faith is bad and like that's all it is, it wouldn't be very dimensional. It wouldn't show off your ability to think deeply on a topic as a writer.
Like showing all sides of a perspective, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, like I said, going back to Nipsey, you know, just really trying to find who your audience is. And I really think that was a beautiful thing that everybody says about Nipsey, is that everything he did was about his community, and the music was about the community, and he talking about the community and all the lyrics, and it was like inside jokes for the whole community. And like I always thought that was such a beautiful idea of like finding out. And I think you're finding out who you're writing for by just talking about your writing. This is what I love to do. This is, and then like, okay, with all that said, who's the audience? Who's the audience? You know what I mean? And I think there's beautiful things there that I've heard you say about wanting to speak to people who had a similar faith upbringing or a similar like leaning towards masculinity. And then you also said, you know, about wanting to write things that could be produced within your personal peers system. And you also had mentioned something about how the passing of your mother had a lot to do with your writing Redger, right? And I think that there's so many answers there of who you're writing for and what your where your direction is and what your deadline is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because people can very easily get lost in thinking that they want to write about everything. And it's really the more specific that you get where you find like a really, really good story, and not to necessarily like start from theme, but you kind of you have a story about the thin line between belief and faith and those little differences. And
Masculinity.
and masculinity and leadership comes from like looking up to masculine figures like sons and fathers, but also like that's a cyclical allegory to the father and the son of.
You know what? I don't think being in love with your faith is putting other people down, and I don't think being masculine is being the tough guy. I think it's taking care of your mother, you know? Like that's the manliest fucking thing somebody can do. Like that's the most masculine, that's the most faithful thing you could do,
Yeah.
you know? And I think maybe sorry, I'm getting emotional, but I think there's a beautiful story there that only you could tell about faith, masculinity, the passing of a mother, the connection of friends, creating projects. I think there's something there that you could tell. Jordan Peele, when he was doing Get Out, he said he would audition actors and young black men would come into the role that weren't right for the role. But he said they'd be about halfway through the audition and they'd start breaking down. They'd start crying. And he said it was about 10 auditions of these black men breaking down in their auditions where he was like, hey, let him finish. Let him finish. You know, where he's like, he said he got through a couple auditions where this guy isn't the guy for the role, but he needs to get through this, you know? And he said he realized that when he wrote something that was so personal and so unique to him that only he could possibly understand, he said the whole world understood, you know? And I think there's some answers there into finding like what you're writing, who you're writing for, what your time frame is, what your timeline is. You know what I mean? Because writing isn't just about writing. Writing is about finishing, you know? So how do you feel about art and like self-expression? Do you feel like that you are doing art for that reason? Are you getting your self-expression out through your art?
Yeah. Yes. The thing is, most of my creative output comes from the games right now, and that's not something I'm like truly passionate about. You know what I mean? I enjoy it when I'm doing the creative part, but that's not like the dream, you know? So hopefully this company gets successful soon.
And just to build some perspective, that's a pretty dream job.
Yeah, for sure.
But I understand what you're saying.
For sure. But it's not the dream. The dream would be to be working on film, you know, whatever that means. But yeah, well, so do I feel what was the...
It's like just how you're working with self-expression through your work, or like to me, it's like, I'm always preaching here, like if I have a shitty day or if I have some kind of conflict or if I'm overwhelming with big feelings, I can get it out through something. I can get it out through music, or I can get it out through art or writing. And I'm always encouraging here, the community, everybody that joins the chat, that like, we're not here making art just because it's fun and it looks pretty. We're here making art because it makes me mentally healthy.
Yeah, I agree. I need that. So I haven't been doing it as much as I used to or would like to, and that comes with getting on set, acting, and writing. And as I mentioned, the writing's been hard. So yeah, I need more because I've always said that if I'm not creative, I'll die. Like I need to do that kind of stuff. So it's been a weird year. So we're getting back to it.
Well, you're also not alone. Fee said, felt, my job is to create art for others, and I don't always feel like I'm really expressing myself, even though it's a fun job that I love.
Oh my God, and it's so impressive. That's impressive to me. That kind of being forced to do art, whereas mine is like writing love on one card, writing save on the next card, writing winter on the, like finding word. It's not as good as what she does, which is incredible.
Sure, but the parallel is that you are both working really great creative jobs, but there's still a separation from self-expression and a job you love. You know what I mean? And like the dream is, I guess, to like have a job where you get paid for self-expression.
And you're also in a unique position because you're really kind of setting up the template for other people to express themselves. I know maybe like gameplay in itself isn't considered an art form to play the game, but I think about people like my wife who just has like a 9-to-5 marketing job and would like sit down with her friends, play a game, and now you've empowered other people to be creative by just giving them a single card, the word love on it. And I wonder if there isn't any sort of like satisfaction in watching other people, like seeing that your work has enabled other people to have fun and improvise with their friends.
Well,
and
and it's kind of, honestly, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, like masculinity and faith. It's all about a permission structure. Trying to give people a permission to question their faith sometimes, or question masculinity, or question these things. And also like these gameplays give people permission to kind of open up and improvise in a way that they don't naturally do. Like you guys fucking improvise regularly. It's what y'all love to do, but normal people don't. And like for you setting up these rules and these cards, they're like, this is what it must feel like to be an actor. This is what it must feel like to be a comedian for the first time. You're like giving people the permission structure to do that. And
That is something we take pride in, actually, is that our games are different. Not Song Survivor specifically, but there's a game called Pick Your Pick, P-I-C-K, your P-I-C. And what we pride ourselves on that. That's like one of my favorite games we've done. And we're rebranding it and doing a whole thing with it. But the beauty of it is, as opposed to like Cards Against Humanity, have you guys ever played that? Mm-hmm. The jokes are the cards. That's the whole thing. Everything that's funny about it is what they put, the game makers put on the cards, right? It's like, I did a podcast about, and then everyone puts in their card that they think makes that funny, but it's what other people wrote. So the jokes are all done for you. You'll have some laughs, but it's like very limited. Whereas ours, we prided ourselves on setting people up for success to be funny. Mm. We are putting them in a position where it's like, okay, we did the work, so all you have to do is do this, and you're the funny one. So Pick Your Pick is decks of cards, and it's an adjective and a noun, and the judge reads this adjective and noun, hectic situation, and everybody looks through their own photos on their phone and finds the one they think best matches hectic situation, and then they all explain it. And everyone presenting their hectic situation photo leads to truly hilarious parties. It's like the best icebreaker I've ever seen.
It has to, because it's so specific to them and only they know the context behind the picture, and they were the ones who took it. And so it immediately opens you up to a sense of ownership.
Yeah. And why is that your connection to it? And you explain why that this is a hectic situation because my dog was peeing on me. Oh, okay, that's clearly it. You have a picture of you in a suit. Why is that a hectic situation? And then you'll be like, well, wait till I tell you
this
why.
This was not my suit.
Yeah,
what you're telling
right?
Yeah.
And so who shit in my pants? Shit is it?
Sorry. I went through the toilet humor. I have a gun in my shirt.
You take some improv. But so that, like, we pride ourselves on that, which is giving people permission. You are funny. You can be funny. And we've done the work to set you up. So to your point, yes, there is some pride in that. And we could write funny cards. Show us a picture of someone shitting in your pants. We could write that on a card and people would laugh at the card and be like, what is this? But that's not as good as you being funny, putting you in a position where you're all...
Kind of reminds me of Tozan saying, hey, I don't tell a story in D&D. I guide everyone's story. Everyone else is telling the story, and I'm just kind of guiding their story.
Very cool, too.
Yeah. Now, I think it's kind of a similar thing. Fee-Chan here is identifying with you, where she says tons of it for her. Like, it makes it all worth it to see someone have an idea expressed through me, even if it's not specifically something I identify with, is what she says. It makes it worth sacrificing my expression for others. Yeah. That's a very beautiful way to put it, Fee-Chan. She says, plus, I get to put a part of myself into it, even if it's not my idea specifically. And then she says, who shit my pants is crazy.
P-Chan, is that the name?
Her name is Felicity, yeah. Fee-Channel. Felicity's channel.
Felicity, if I ever get a tattoo, I'm coming to you.
In Kentucky, yeah, she's a very talented artist. I'll show you some of her work here in a second.
You have any? You don't have any?
No tattoos. But if I did, I would consult Fee-Chan first, that's for sure.
She does give tattoo advice in the chat often. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to shift a little bit. I want to come back to this. We're kind of getting to the end of the hour, but I would like to go through a couple of these things. First off, what I would like to look at is, and Derrick, maybe if you want to turn the screen so that Garrett can see your screen.
Okay, you want me to pull up the 2B?
I already have it pulled up. If you could just show them the Twitch stream preview if you have it up.
Okay, let me make it larger.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna do this thing. So if you want to maybe preface this scene, Garrett.
I haven't seen this.
And I have mine muted, by the way.
Okay, it's muted here too. I'm gonna get it to the top of this scene perfectly.
Oh, Will.
Excuse me.
I'm sure you've had Will on, right?
No, we haven't had Will on yet because we have a couple other projects that we need Will for. So we're kind of... All right, so y'all in the chat, let me know that this sounds okay once it gets going. So Garrett, do you want to give us a little intro to what the scene is about? Or
I am Ramen. That was my name. And I am interviewing for the job of a stage manager at a playhouse that a serial killer has rented to fill some fantasies.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Really good.
Yeah, nice job. It's almost like you were in it.
Hi, Joseph Watkins.
Nice to meet you, Joe.
Just Joseph.
Joseph. Ramen. Just ramen, like the noodle.
I'm sorry, I was running late.
I take the bus.
Wow. Let's just jump right in. I'm looking to hire somebody for this with some experience. At the last crew that I had to fire everybody. I mean, the whole thing was a total bust.
Yeah. With this one, you actually haven't mentioned pay rate or start.
I'm fully willing to compensate upon completion. So, tell me about your experience.
Okay, I've been known to stretch a buck as a stage manager. I'm efficient, and I've actually done a few plays.
So you know how to take this thing cradle to grave.
It depends on the size.
Small, like the least amount possible.
Okay, well, to do a good one,
Doesn't have to be good.
well then, yeah, man. All right. Yeah, we can make this as minimal as you want. Why are you doing this?
Why does anybody do anything?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are you, some kind of philosopher?
I'm a student of philosophy. Tell me more about yourself.
I mean, this is why I came here, to the heart of everything, to be in it.
It?
The fucking scene, man.
This looks great. When can you start?
Well, here's the thing. I just have to legally come out and say it. I'm not some kind of sex pervert or nothing like that, but I am a registered sex offender. It's just that I was getting out of my shower, like you do, like we all do, and I left the blinds open, and I forgot I lived in front of a school. And to be honest, a substantial amount of children saw my dick, and it got out of hand fairly quickly once the cops got there. But you can look all of this up online. It's not as big a deal as people make it. I just have to tell you.
Sex.
Oh, that was funny. That was fun. Yeah, that was a good time. I had a good time on that movie. Do we want to pull up the commercial too?
It's off. You have a link on there.
Let's go ahead and take it. Huh?
Very embarrassing.
Let's take a look at this commercial.
But,
what do you mean?
I love that substantial amount of children was very.
So that was technically written by Derrick, directed by me, acted by Garrett.
Pretty cool.
I think you I don't think I wrote substantial. I think that's something that you probably.
It may have come in real time.
Yeah.
You know, or Garrett was improvising because he didn't have the lyrics remember perfectly. Okay, so let me pull up this apartment.com's. Oh, I just saw the thumbnail and I'm already cheesing about it. All right, so we're going to pull up the apartments.com ad and see how this is going to work out for us. So, again, I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants trying to figure out how to get this into the boom. All right, y'all, let me know in the chat if this sounds good. Again, go ahead and interact with this bad boy and go ahead and pause it because we don't have audio yet. Let me know how the audio is. Right?
She'll come around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes.
You looking for your razor?
Sorry, son.
She'll be coming around.
That was awesome. That was very cool.
Yeah, there was a series. There was 3 of those.
That was very cool, man. That's cool. So before we get out of here, I would like to maybe pull up one of these games too, one of your tabletop games, and let's take a look at that. So if I click on, I'm gonna go to Doing the Most here, games. I'm just gonna pull up this website. So if we go to full screen, Photoshop, browser here, boom. Okay, so that should have us up here. Doing the Most. Yeah, Doing the Most. Are you a fellow cheapskate? Get 10% off your entire purchase. See, that's fun. That's clever. Do you help work with that copy? Like, are you one of the people helping?
Yeah, I wrote that.
You wrote that?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I'm glad you got a genuine laugh. That was good.
Yeah, it seemed
Note taken. Criticism received.
It's it seemed very like on brand with your style of comedy. Thanks. Okay, so Doing the Most. So I'm looking at the website here. I see Song Survivor. I see Hood You Rather.
Yes. This is a black-owned company.
Okay.
And the
Love it, love
started
it.
because he wanted to make games for black people, basically. Is why he started it. So our second game was of his design. I did not write any of the cards, I promise you. I just helped facilitate making the game.
Before we move on, it's funny. The guys are responding like LMFA. These scenes are wild. She said, not a single word said, but his face said it all. Anastasia says, I feel bad.
Thank you.
So yeah, I like that. So it's a black-owned company, and these games are filling a niche in tabletop gaming and even apps at the beginning that really weren't so inclusive. I really love that. Like, see, that's a very clear answer of like,
Who are you making this for?
yeah, like who are you speaking to?
Yeah, but some of the games are for the general audience. You got to
Song Survivor, Hood You Rather, Pick Your Pick. So tell me, Song Survivor is what we just talked about, where you have one song and you go around. What is Hood You Rather?
Hood You Rather is Would You Rather with hood scenarios. And Deion Sanders and Roxy Diaz played that on their show on Tubi, which we've been on today.
Nice.
Tubi. They played that on We Got Time Today, and that was great for us too.
Pick Your Pick?
Pick Your Pick is the one I was talking about, which is it's all about the pictures on your phone. That's probably my favorite game out of all of them.
Explain to me how that works.
A judge draws an adjective and a noun card, and that is your prompt. They get to pick from adjective and noun cards, and that is the prompt. And then everybody has 60 seconds to find a picture in their phone.
That matches the prompt?
Yeah, and it's very fun.
Wow. And like, so if you can't find a picture to match the prompt, you lose.
Well, you 10 seconds, you would find something and then try to sell it. Like, this is it because of...
So even if it is a far stretch.
You're just trying to get the judge to pick yours.
Oh, I got you. That's why you call it the judge. Pick your pick. All makes sense now. And do y'all sit around a table and try to come up with ideas or modifying other game ideas? And people are submitting their ideas, and whichever one is at the top.
We do have a like an affiliate kind of thing. Sorry about the tapping. We try to work with other game inventors that don't have a place to make their games. So we got a couple of those in the works. Some of them are just kind of ideas. We're making stuff up, and then some of them, when I have spare time, I just kind of try to invent something new.
And we're looking at the game night just got lit. Shop now. And we're looking at the 2 photos. And if y'all look right now, all the way to the right of the photo on the right, you see an asshole in the back with long hair and a mustache holding what looks like a can of beer. That is Derrick. That is Derrick in the back of that photo with long hair and a mustache.
Look at the professionalism, though, with his hand covering the logo of the beer, so you can tell it's a beer.
You can tell I produced before.
Carrie, not only that hair and that mustache, that was for a role.
That we never.
I'm sorry.
Produced.
Sometimes you have to kill your darlings. COVID killed that darling.
Yeah.
Song Survivor.
There's actually another game that's not on the front page.
Word on the street. Me and my friends had a blast with this. Not too complex, easy to understand, great for all ages. I will say, for a black-owned company, those two pictures with Derrick looked awfully white.
That's a problem.
What other game you look at? Can I get to it through the shop games?
Yeah, sure. It's the one that Slang and Friends evolved into. It's just a drinking game, a crazy, raunchy drinking game.
Well, here's the one I heard of the beginning is Doing the Most.
Yeah, and that's
So Doing the Most is what the company's name now, but that was y'all's first tabletop game. Tell me a little bit about that. Your flagship game.
Yeah, that's an improv game that's giving you improv prompts while you get drunk, like people get too drunk. It was our first game. We did a lot wrong, but I mean, you can have fun with it.
So it's a drinking tabletop game based on improvising.
Yeah, on slang. It's like all based on slang words. Every card has something based with slang, and then you take that.
So somebody gives you a slang word in a context, and you have to act it out so people can guess what the slang word is.
Every card is different, but yeah, something like that.
Gotcha. That's Doing the Most. Okay, and then we got Who'd You Rather. We know that one. Pick Your Pick. We know that one. And the last one, Song Survivor.
Yeah, that's
Doing the Most. I thought you said there was one that wasn't on here.
it. Was
I was doing
the most wasn't on there.
Gotcha. I see. Hey, and guys, it's on sale right now. If you're looking to pick up some of these tabletop games, you're an adult, you want to do some drinking with your family and your friends, you living in a dorm, you haven't quite been to apartments.com, your house is full, check out these games on doingthemost.com. And we are getting towards the end of our hour. I do like to wrap things up around the same time. If anybody wants to say anything else before I start wrapping it up.
Unless you wanted to do like a little quick quiz.
Yes, I do want to do a quick quiz. All right, not quite yet. We got a little bit longer. If you're good for it.
Quick quiz.
Quick quiz.
Derrick comes as the lead writer of the gang. He's been coming up with his own games every episode.
So what we've done is we've researched other tabletop games rule books and found the most obscure, weird rule from them.
Okay.
And I'm gonna read the rule, and you try and tell me what tabletop game it's from.
Oh God.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Last time when we had a production designer on, he would describe a set, and we'd have to guess the movie. And then when it was,
would answer all of them.
I
That's
would-
fun. Idiot.
I couldn't help it. And then I'm gonna try here too. I'm gonna try my best. Then when we had a game streamer on, Derrick described the location of the games, and then she would have to answer the games.
Okay, fun.
I'm gonna try to answer though.
Okay. These are kind of I made them harder.
And everybody in the chat, if you know your board games or you know any of these games, I hope they're not too hard, and I hope they're games we know.
I don't know. Okay. Here we go. The player who can hold their breath the longest goes first in this tabletop game.
Every one of those is different. Every game has a different. This is the person that goes first. You know what I mean? Like the person. Like I think Cards Against Humanity is the person most recently take a dump or something like that. It's like that kind of thing. So to hold their breath the longest. What's that accents game? I'm gonna guess that accents game.
Is he right?
I forget
No.
the name of it right
That
now.
accents game.
The name of the tabletop game is called Deep Sea Adventure.
See, that makes sense though.
Yeah.
See the
Deep
connection.
Sea, do you know the Deep Sea Adventure game?
I've never even heard of it.
Come on, you got to go top 10 game. You said you look like Lord Farquaad in that picture, Derrick. Oh, that's funny.
But shorter.
Lord Farquaad, that's hilarious. His hair looked great. You said Monopoly? Not a
Okay,
good
I'll
guess.
try and find something a little easier. Okay.
Come on, use top 10 games. Shoots and ladders, baby.
Okay. In case of a tie, the player who is the oldest wins.
That's life. That's my guess. What do you think?
Wow. Yeah, I got no answer. The way
This is a tabletop game called Ticket to Ride.
I do know that game.
we know, but he just hit us with some life philosophy that
Yeah. Well, it
the
should make
person
sense.
who lives to be the oldest is the winner of the game life.
That's their tiebreaker. That's why I got some criticisms. I hope they take it well.
Okay.
Ticket to Ride is huge. I've never played it, but
No,
it's like a big red.
Here's something really easy. You may only place your tiles in a straight line, not diagonally.
Do you have one?
Categories?
No, it's Scrabble.
It is Scrabble. Yes.
I think that's what I meant.
Yeah. I think you did.
I meant Scrabble, and I said categories. You still win.
But you can also do,
Esteu said checkers.
Oh.
you can also do upwards. Well, you can't. Can't you go diagonal on checkers?
You can go diagonal. It was a good. Up. Rose said chess. What was the answer?
Scrabble.
Scrabble. You're all wrong.
Okay. Here's another one. If the marble rolls off the board, that player's turn immediately ends.
I have a guess.
Marble rolls off a board. What games have marbles? Chinese checkers? Is that okay to say?
No, we don't say checkers anymore.
It's Oriental. No.
Wow. I'm gonna say sorry.
It is Kerplunk.
Oh, the game Kerplunk. Yeah, it's like you have like a thin piece of paper and it's wet, and you have to put a bunch of marbles onto it without it
Wet?
breaking. It's like a thin wet tissue.
Long. Okay, fun.
Okay.
I've never played it. I just remember the commercials. These are hard.
You may accuse anyone, anywhere, except yourself.
Got it.
I don't know. Don't look at me. You have the answer.
I know it. So you want?
You're
I want
supposed
you
to guess. You're supposed to win.
Oh, I thought you were playing too. If I got it, then you should guess first, so I don't ruin it for you.
Oh no, you should guess before anybody.
Clue.
It is Clue.
Wow.
It is Clue.
See, you don't. You're supposed to guess first before anybody else can. It's like tapping the button.
Okay.
And this one should be pretty easy. Remove all ailments carefully, but don't
Operation.
Damn it.
decide. You should have spent your time saying operation instead of I've got it.
Yeah, but I mean, I knew what game it was, but I didn't have the name.
I've got the disease.
I've had an operation.
I have the ailment.
Oh, that was fun. That was good. That was fun. Some of those were difficult. I think it was funner. I think it's more fun when they're not so difficult.
Deep sea. What
When
was
you
the
know
first one?
the answer.
Deep sea what?
Deep sea adventure.
Deep sea adventure.
I believe Derek may have made that one up. That's why it was so difficult. He's auditioning for the job. Are y'all hiring?
What was the accent game? Let me find that before so we can let everybody know. Cite our sources here.
Rose, Esteu, Fee-Chan. God, Fee-Chan, it's been a long time since we've had you back. Thanks so much for y'all hanging out and chatting with us. I think Rose had a couple questions, maybe. I'm trying to run back through the chat to see.
Utter nonsense.
Is the name of the game?
That's the name of the accents game. It's a fun game if you've never played.
Rose says a couple of her questions were, what helps with you with an idea when it comes to the games? You know? And is there a favorite that you absolutely love?
Two-part. What helps me when I have a problem?
What helps you with ideas for the game? Coming up with ideas for games.
Well, I do what I like what games I've enjoyed, and I try to think of something different, but in the realm. The Pick Your Pick game, which is my favorite of our games, is because in conversation it came up that there are no games about your phone, really. You can play games on your phone. There's a bunch of Jackbox stuff and whatnot, but it's not about your phone. It's just playing on your phone. We wanted to make something new with that. It was something that had never been done. That's what helps. What has never been done? So what would we do next? A game about furniture or a game about giving your friends haircuts. You know, and then my favorite game is a game called Bang. If anybody's played it, it's like a country western game.
Does it have an exclamation point at the end?
Yeah, it does. It's super fun, guys.
Bang.
It's super fun. But I also like Chameleon or Code Names. Those are my.
So these are tabletop game recommendations?
Yeah, tabletop. And if you want to start with something, start with Code Names. It's the easiest to kind of understand, and then go to Chameleon, then go to Bang. Bang has a lot of moving pieces.
Esteu said he thought that we had banned Rick Red, but I think he's just realizing that that's you, Derek. He thought you were a bot. Good thing you didn't get banned just now. Esteu almost just shut you down.
Rick Red, what is that for?
Derek backwards, kind of.
It's an anagram. Exactly.
Esteu says he thinks Garrett would find the Kuwaiti game called Dama interesting.
Kuwaiti game?
Kuwaiti game Dama, D-A-M-A.
I'm making a note of that.
Esteu, Garrett.
Can you spell it?
D-A-M-A.
D-A-M-A.
Thanks for sharing, Esteu.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll play it, let you know.
And also, Esteu, thanks for not banning Derek.
Yeah.
We just made Esteu into a moderator, and I think the power has just gone to his head. I'm about to ban everybody. He was like, isn't that because when you put that link in, he thought it looked like a bot. It said bang, exclamation point links, sketchy link, and the moderator almost banned Derek.
Bang is a different site.
I can see how it's confusing. All right, so if you're having a shitty day or a shitty week or a shitty month or a shitty year, whether you're dealing with drama from yourself, your family, your friends, school, your job, maybe you're dealing with the passing of a loved one, I want you to remember to take it easy on yourself. Give yourself some grace. Don't take it out on yourself. Don't take it out on your community. Don't take it out on the people you love. Take it out on art. And with that said, I think we're going to come to a conclusion here on the podcast. Be sure and check it out on YouTube. Join the Discord. Follow the Twitch. Is there anything else where we can find you, Garrett? If you want to, again, tell us where we can find your Instagram and your games and whatnot.
You can follow Doing the Most Games on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for the support.
Yes, thanks for the support. Check out the games. Check out the TikTok. Get one of the games. Get drunk with your friends and family. Take some pictures. Let us see. Thanks so much for being here. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. If nobody's told you lately, we love you. You're a very talented artist. You're getting better as an artist and a person every day. Take it out on art, y'all. Peace.
Very cool. That fucking sucked.